Warning, there will be spoilers for The Mandalorian Season 3, Chapter 18, titled The Mines of Mandalore, or Episode 2, however you want to look at it. If you haven't seen it, proceed with caution. I do not hold back. With The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 12, and The Mandalorian Chapter 18 released just this morning, it was really hard for me to pick just one to review today, and which one would have to wait until tomorrow. Both were amazing episodes, but in the end I chose The Mandalorian. As I've said before, the lore of The Mandalorians is my favorite in the Star Wars universe, but that didn't make the decision any easier. If I had more time, I would do both reviews today, but I do have work in just a couple hours. But don't worry, I will be doing a review and breakdown of the latest episode of The Bad Batch at my earliest opportunity. With that said, I've been waiting almost 2.5 years for The Mandalorian Season 3, as most of you have, and I don't want to waste any time getting into it. But for those who thought the first episode was boring, this episode truly delivers. There's so much to talk about. This episode has an actual runtime of about 37 minutes. That's 5 minutes longer than the Season 3 premiere. That doesn't sound like much, but it felt like longer than 37 minutes. With new creatures and a mythological beast, this episode really packs a solid punch to the gut of any Mynock that chews on power cables. No, I don't condone punching animals. That's just weird. But you get what I mean. With there being a lot to get through, I'll go ahead and give my rating on the show first. That way, those who have less time to watch this episode can just get the gist of it and how I feel about it. But if you want my full breakdown, stick around for the whole video. I give the episode a solid 9 out of 10. Points taken off for the length and some cheesy CGI. I'll get more into that. But before I go on with my Mandalorian Season 3 episode review, thoughts, and breakdown, a quick word from our sponsor, Little Ol' Me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. I'm on a quest to hit 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of that journey. I know you hear that from every other YouTube channel, but hey, this is freaking Star Wars, baby. Who doesn't love Star Wars? I know you do. And I promise to give you the best Star Wars has to offer in a positive way for as long as I make videos. In other words, I keeps it real for a very long time. Now, let's get on with The Mandalorian. The episode titled The Mines of Mandalore has to be one of my favorite episodes of the entire series so far. It begins with a celebration on Tatooine where the secretary from Peli Motto, is swindling a Rodian. The celebration? It's Boonta Week, and this is Boonta Eve. If you don't recall what Boonta Eve is, a little boy named Anakin Skywalker won a pod race on this day, and his freedom. As a side note, freedom's a relative word, isn't it? Anakin was freed from being a slave, but fell into servitude of the Jedi Order, then served another master in Emperor Palpatine. But that has absolutely nothing to do with this episode of The Mandalorian. Yep, I got sidetracked. Din Djarin then shows up and Grogu does a force jump and flip into the awaiting arms of Peli Motto. She swears he spoke his first word, Peli. But I don't know. Sound like maybe. I don't know. If this was his first word, then that's a bit disheartening. It should be Dad or Papa or something regarding Din Djarin. Let's just hope she was hearing what she wanted to hear. Din Djarin then climbs down from his N1 Naboo starfighter, which had the same markings as the one Anakin Skywalker brought down the droid command ship with in The Phantom Menace. Maybe my slave bit about Anakin does loosely tie into this. Meh, it's a stretch. Din Djarin then goes on asking Peli Motto if she could help him with obtaining a memory core for his IG unit. She says nope. Then asks him if the Hutts are back or if he's going to take on Boba Fett. Why the heck would he do that? They're friends. But one thing's for sure, Boba Fett is still on Tatooine and likely still running Mos Espa. Din Djarin replies nope, and that he needs the memory core to go spelunking. But instead of the memory core, Peli Motto gives Din Djarin R5-D4, the Cowardly Lion, and the Tin Man all rolled into one. Setting off, Din Djarin, Grogu, and R5-D4 head to Mandalore. I didn't expect this until later in the season, but I should have figured it would come sooner. There are only 8 episodes this season, as with the other 2 seasons. When we finally see the surface of Mandalore, we can't help but think this place is a poop hole. Yes, I know it was bombed to glass by the Empire, and that's evident by the surface being covered in green glass, the same as the shard of glass Din Djarin showed the armorer in the first episode. By the way, can we give that girl a name? I'm tired of saying the armorer. Can we just call her Rook Kast? Please? Din sends R5-D4 into the caves to make sure the air isn't toxic. R5-D4 doesn't report back, and Mando sets off alone to find him. As he searches the cave, he runs into Alamites. No, not Dolomite. That would be funny, though. Alamites are a sentient life form that lived on the outskirts of the Mandalorian cities, but now inhabit the abandoned Mandalorian city of Sundari. After dispatching the bipedal creatures, Din Djarin locates R5 and learns that Bo-Katan was right about the air not being toxic or poisonous. Mando retrieves Grogu, aka Baby Yoda, and heads back into the tunnel. Lowering himself ever so gently to the Civic Center below, Din walks a few feet and is captured by a skill crane claw machine robot. He tells Grogu to go get Bo-Katan. Grogu does just that. Bo-Katan and Grogu return to the mine and rescue Mando. She then agrees to go with him to the living waters so he can be redeemed in the eyes of the weird cult he belongs to. Din jumps in the water and sinks straight to the bottom. Bo-Katan then dives in and pulls him up, and this is where the magic is. When the duo is returning to the surface, they pass a large beast, a mythosaur. I literally woke my entire house yelling at the top of my lungs. Yeah, they'll get over it. Okay, that's the breakdown of the episode. I know I made some jokes in there, and they probably didn't land well. I'm old. We make stupid jokes. What can I say? All jokes aside, though, I said it before. This has to be one of my favorite episodes of the series so far. I was honestly expecting another Dave Filoni special with a side quest that wouldn't tie in until later episodes. But no, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau went all out on this one. It stuck with the larger story and dove deep into the Mandalorian lore and history. Bo-Katan talked about her father, whom we had never heard about up until this point. In fact, we know so little about him that I included him in my Jango Fett fanfictions. But her father, still unnamed, ruled Mandalore for a time, just as I said in my fanfictions. Interesting. Does Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau watch Star Wars Fanatic? Probably not. We also get a bit of history in Din Djarin. He grew up on Concordia. If you don't know what that is and its importance to Mandalorian lore, it's a moon of Mandalore where the fanatic group Death Watch was banished to. It's where Pre Vizsla was hiding out during the Clone Wars. So yes, that confirms that Din Djarin was originally raised by Death Watch before they split into several other factions, one of which being the Children of the Watch. When I first saw the Alamites, I cheered before I knew what they were called. I yelled out, "The Taung are not gone." And if you don't know who the Taung were, they were an ancient race who began the Mandalorian culture. But alas, they're only Alamites. I guess this works better for continuity. I suppose. They do look similar, though. While watching the episode, most of it felt like a movie, aside from the opening scene of horribly made CGI speeders on Tatooine. But with everything said, the biggest surprise wasn't until the end. The Mythosaur. Long thought to be extinct, it seems at least one has survived and is in the living waters of Mandalore, and we get to see it in live action now. But there was also something subtle in this episode. Bo-Katan wielding the Darksaber with ease, and Din Djarin still struggling to use it. At least he didn't almost chop his leg off this time. But you could tell it wasn't his first choice of weapon due to how awkward he handles it. But Bo-Katan had no trouble at all. And this actually goes into another argument I've been making for a long time. And both Bo-Katan and the Armorer, aka Rook Kast, slightly confirmed it. It isn't the Darksaber that makes someone a leader. The Armorer said by blood and with the Darksaber she ruled Mandalore. Bo-Katan then confirmed it by talking about her family ruling Mandalore. Her family didn't have the Darksaber. At that time, it was a Vizsla family heirloom. But with the way Bo-Katan is acting, it seems a lot of people were wrong about her being a villain in The Mandalorian Season 3. To clarify, I never thought she'd be a villain, just a Karen about the whole Darksaber thing. I really want to do more videos on these deeper subjects, but I'll leave that up to you all. Should I do it? The Mandalorian culture is so complex. It isn't the good versus evil that accompany the Jedi and Sith, or the Empire and the Rebellion. There's no clear line distinguishing the two in Mandalorian culture, and they don't need superpowers to be formidable. In fact, they're one of the only cultures that can defeat Jedi and Sith. But let me know in the comments if you think I should dig deeper into the themes and ideas given to us in this episode of The Mandalorian Season 3. I do read all comments, and I try to respond to as many as I can. This isn't a place for me to hear how great I am. I'm not arrogant like that. I don't feed off it. I do appreciate compliments, but I also appreciate constructive feedback. Just be civil and I'll do the same. There's too much hate in this world, and this is our community to be positive, whether we disagree or agree. Okay, enough of my rant. Before I go, another word from our sponsor, little old me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. I'm on a journey to hit that 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of the next phase of this channel. So until the next video, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way. And positivity in the Star Wars fandom is the only way.